I'm interviewing today with you about mental health reintegration issues that are facing the veterans that are returning home and relocating, either coming home to Idaho or relocating to Idaho. As far as when they come into Idaho, are they initially automatically set up?
Oh, got you. So, well, it kind of depends on the veteran and how they're coming into it. So, if they're set up with the VA, if they go down to the VA and get into the system, there is a lot of the self-advocating for veterans. So they've got to go in and say, hey, these are the things that are bothering me. And the VA Medical Center does a wonderful job of getting them set up. But sometimes the medical center isn't quite what they're looking for. And so we're really encouraging veterans to take that self-advocacy and find what actually works for them. So what's the word I'm looking for? One size doesn't fit all, I guess is what I mean. So that's, why at the vet center, we're here for a little different reason. So we primarily meet with veterans who suffered any kind of military sexual trauma and veterans who served in any kind of hostile environment. So, that can be Panama, that can be Desert Storm, OAF, OEF, Vietnam, but any of the smaller ones too. So we're a little bit more specialized. With the VA Medical Center, they can see a broader spectrum of mental health. So it really is we have an outreach specialist who goes out to different events and tries to get veterans to know who we are, as well as the VA Medical Center and the resources for veterans. So getting the word out is really important because some veterans don't know where to start, and that's really a big piece of this, is just getting started.
So, and I get the impression after talking with several people that are veterans that when the veteran gets out of, when they've done their time, that it's kind of like a black hole.
It can be, absolutely. So, and the military has come a long way. So since in the last couple of weeks of a service members tour, they do 2 weeks of temp and tap classes. And so they're really trying to show service members at that time what resources are out there for them. They help them get up their VA claims situated. They try to show them all of the financial resources, the mental health resources. The problem is that, and I guess I could speak personally from my point of view, is that when we're about to get out of the military, there's so much information coming at us that we don't retain a lot. And thankfully they give you a lot of information that you can always go back to. But it's really hard getting out because the military provides this foundation, this cushion of, they give you a mission, they give you a purpose, and they give you a family in a sense. And so when you get out of the military, there's almost this perception that everything's going to be fine, everything's good, I've got this, and then all of the resources go away. And it's really hard to get back up on your feet. Even with all of the resources that are out there, it takes a minute to really understand that, oh wow, I don't have that foundation or that cushion underneath me anymore. So that's what I've seen as being really hard. And any veterans who retired from the military, they seem to be struggling a lot more just because they've had 20 plus years of military service, which is very different mindset than the civilian world. So that readjustment is very hard.
Okay. So, what do you think are the hardest things for the veteran to readjust to?
Oh man. I actually once had a veteran come tell me that in the military everybody knew the rules, and we would yell at you if you didn't follow the rules. And he got out and he said, nobody knows the rules anymore and nobody's following the rules, and nobody can, and if you're yelling at them you just look like a crazy person. So I think that's one of the hardest adjustments, is that structure of the military going to the civilian world where you make your own structure. I think that's really incredibly hard. And then that perception of I'm all by myself and nobody else understands me, which is, there's pieces and parts of that are true, but you kind of, as a veteran, go find that tribe that does understand you a little bit better and try to reintegrate into that, but also adding some of the civilians so that you can balance it out. It really is hard, unfortunately.
So if I say I was a veteran and say I did 20 years and I came out and I thought, maybe it took me 2 to 3 years and I was having some issues and I eventually came to you. Do you treat the veteran that's been in longer differently than the veteran that's been in for a short time?
Well, with what we do here is we do very individualized care. So depending on the veteran in front of me is the way that we'll adjust it. So it just kind of depends on where they are. But it seems to me that with the veterans who have done 20 plus years, they've really, what's the word? They're kind of in between careers. They're in between knowing a way of life and into a new way of life. And that includes their families as well, because they're depending on when they were married or when they started this thing, the whole family's been in the military for 20 years, or associated with. And so there's a lot depending on the veteran, we work on the marriage issues, we work on the parenting issues, we work on the career transferring issues, because in the military, that sense of purpose, that higher sense of belonging is really important. And when a veteran either just gets out after a couple years, but also that 20 plus, losing that sense of purpose is really scary for veterans. And that happens a lot in session, is focusing on, okay, maybe the higher sense of purpose isn't going to be like the military anymore. So we got to find something that's different. It just changes what it looks like. The purpose is you still need purpose, but it's got to change and adjust. And really finding where that next step is interesting. So it's very individualized and going where the veteran needs to go versus pushing them a direction.
Okay, thank you for that. And then, so of the modalities that you offer here, because I'm assuming you offer counseling here at this center, what kind of modalities do you offer? Do you offer cognitive? Do you offer?
So we're kind of eclectic here in the Boise Vet Center. So we have, one of our therapists is, she's certified in the ACT, so acceptance commitment therapy. We have another therapist who is certified in EMDR. We have another one who is an emotional focused family therapist. We have one psychologist who is very, she's very specialized in MST, the cognitive modalities, and then we do a lot of case management, and it kind of goes back to each individual veteran. So sometimes we'll be very heavy on a theory, heavy on a modality, but depending on where the veteran is, we can also just talk about the day-to-day thing. So it just kind of, mental health, well, here, I guess for here at the Vet Center, we really try to go back to that, building a positive relationship, showing that unconditional positive regard, empathy, and helping them feel connected, and then working with the modalities to make them make positive changes in the future. So even like the other part we add is groups. So we have several Vietnam groups, we have several women's traumas groups, we have a book group that we're having right now, we have art classes, so we're really trying to do a bowling group too. I forgot we have that. Oh man, we got a lot of groups. But a lot of just different ideas and different ways to get veterans engaged. So building those relationships.
Okay, so what I'd like to do, if you're open to this, is discuss each of the modalities a little bit more.
Okay.
So that, and I'd like you to discuss them like I'm the veteran that's come in and I have no clue what any of these are about.
Okay.
But you can see that I need help.
Right.
But I can't see that I need help.
Right. So when a veteran comes in for the very first time, the first couple sessions are really just trying to understand where they are and where are they struggling the most. So that could be a range of the transitioning, or that could be I'm having marital issues, so I need couples therapy, or it means that I'm missing that partnership, that community, and that purpose. So when we go in, those first couple sessions are building that relationship because they need to feel comfortable. In therapy, one of the most important pieces is that therapeutic relationship and knowing that they can find us safe and that we're not going to go against them or betray them in a sense. So once we get that established, then we go into the different therapy modalities depending on where the veteran is. And so with ACT, that's the acceptance commitment therapy. And that is really about, and that's really good with couples as well as individuals. It's about accepting where you are and then making the commitment to change. And there's all kinds of different homework and different things that go into that. And we judge that and base that on the veteran depending on how far they're willing to go.